Good evening. Thank you so much for joining us and welcome to Urban Boatbuilders' 25th anniversary celebration. My name is Mark Hosmer and I'm incredibly proud to be the current executive director. This event looks a little bit different than the one that we were planning when we started this year, but we're so glad that you're here with us to celebrate this organization, our history, our accomplishments, and the community that comes together to support our youth. Over the next 30 minutes or so, you'll hear from one of our current apprentices, a founder of the organization, a community partner and board member, and you'll get to witness the first ever paddle portage relay race event. To kick us off, I'd like to introduce to you one of the founders who helped to start this place 25 years ago, to share a little bit about our history and where we've been. So please join me in welcoming Mike Tamale.
Hello everyone, this is Mike Tamale, and 25 years ago, actually probably more like 26 years ago, myself and two good friends, Setu Jones and Dave Gagne, started talking in my backyard about, what could we do with boat building and youth in St. Paul, because all of us had some interest in the boat side of it, but had a much stronger interest in the youth side of it and saw it as a good fit for an avenue for kids that maybe don't fit into 10th grade math class so well, or didn't really succeed all the time in a regular school setting, but who could learn a lot from hands-on work in a team in their own hometown, designing and building boats and then using those boats. And this idea came from a number of places. Setu was working on a concept of sort of culturally based boats, like the Batu down in the Bayou area of Louisiana, as it connected to African American heritage. And I had just bought an old wooden boat up in Duluth and hauled it home with Dave one day, and then started subscribing to Wooden Boat magazine rather, and there was a big cover story about a nonprofit in Washington D.C. called the Anacostia Seaport Foundation that I found very inspiring. So Setu and I and Dave said, why don't we try that here? Long story short, it probably took a year to piece together the concept and initial board, some initial funding. St. Paul companies back then, a program officer named Polly Nyberg was super supportive and gave us our first grant. And then Midway Shopping Center owners put us in a space for free that we were in for many, many years, as you know. We got underway, and like most endeavors like this, we didn't really know what we were getting into, and we didn't know what we were doing much of the time, but we figured it out. And we figured it out with not only each other, but also with the kids, and what worked for them, what didn't work for them. We were super lucky to run into a talented young boat builder, Phil, and had been trained as a boat builder and had a great touch with the kids. And basically off we went. And part of the model was to partner with other organizations around St. Paul and ultimately the metro that worked with kids and that needed a project. And this was a project that they could either do in our shop or they could do on their own site, but they didn't know how to do this, and we did. So we would bring them sort of the plans and the lead builder, and they would bring kids into the mix, and before you know it, you had kids learning some math, learning project management, and working together, teamwork. And all of these are super important skills, especially for kids that maybe didn't have much of that in their life, that didn't have adult involvement in that regard. And they would come through with these amazing boats, and then they put them on the water and go out and have fun. And to see that through from concept or even pre-concept to paddling around is a game changer and a life changer for so many of these kids. So we're absolutely thrilled that we're here today, that 25 years into it, there's been all these kids impacted, and so many of them have benefited from it, have gone on to new and good things. It is now my honor to introduce Val Sutton, who is a current board member of Urban Boatbuilders and one of the lead teachers on a project with Urban Boatbuilders over at her school, which is Jennings Community Learning Center. Val?
Hi, my name is Val. I am a teacher at Jennings Community School, which is just a train stop down from Urban Boatbuilders right now. I am going on 10 years as a teacher there, and also have become work-based learning coordinator, so I have the opportunity to go out into the community and see places like Urban Boatbuilders and see our students being served there, which is awesome. I love that. I wanted to let you know, though, that when I first discovered Urban Boatbuilders, it wasn't where it is now. It was down University a ways, and I was thinking to myself, this is really cool. I had this curiosity about this shop that was building canoes in the cities, and why. And you work with youth, formerly incarcerated, or youth who just need advantages that they should have had in the first place, and support provided at a shop like this. This is really impressive. So I have been curious about Urban Boatbuilders ever since my first glance at that shop further down University Avenue, and sure enough, they moved close to us. And then I believe someone from Urban Boatbuilders knocked on our door and said, can we, let you know about the program that we have here and how we can help some of your high school youth? We said, absolutely. So they presented. It was amazing and impressive to hear about a paid mentorship apprenticeship program, such as what they were offering, and we jumped at the chance to get some of the kids into the program. So we have had multiple students go through this program now over the years, but several stand out in terms of having life-changing stories. One example would be a student who was nearing graduation and had, beyond his control, a family situation, and something came up, they had to leave town. And Michael came over to our school and said, hey, what can we do together, the school and Urban Boatbuilders, to help the student get back on track, back on his feet, back into his job here at Urban Boatbuilders, because he progressed through the year from youth instructor to junior apprentice to senior apprentice to youth instructor. So he was close to graduating, and we just needed to support him. So we worked together, and he had his job back within days, I believe. It wasn't long, place to live, all the support he needed, and graduated, and it was really a collaborative effort. So that's what a community partnership can do, and that's how grateful we are for that at Urban Boatbuilders. I also wanted to talk about the fact that what we focus on at our school, and what Urban Boatbuilders also focuses on, is relationship building. So we come alongside students, we listen, we clue into what they really are needing at the time, and try to just support and be there as guides, while developing skills and working through projects at our school of all kinds to address different curriculum needs. But it's really the relationship building. It's getting to know, and I know that there are a lot of volunteers that come in to Urban Boatbuilders, and they're interested in the youth, and they show that, and that is really huge. Just to show an interest in the lives of the youth and to be there and to be a support is amazing. When COVID-19 hit, I was so grateful to learn that the students that were in the apprenticeship program at Urban Boatbuilders were able to continue to get paid and do online work like work readiness, financial literacy, and life skill training online, but they also were given food. So they could come to the shop and pick up a week's worth of food for themselves and their families, I believe. But it was just really great that we could step up to the plate and do something like that during the crisis that we've all lived through and are living through. Food deserts developing in that community, and just a lot of needs. So it was really great that Urban Boatbuilders stepped up and did that. They also continue to pay them. I think I already said that, but it's just incredible that support could be shown in that way. I know the shop has been open this summer, and there's some distancing and learning still happening there. This last year, we launched into our first experience with Urban Boatbuilders doing on-site programming. That's also been awesome. We've built 2 canoes and longboards. So the students got to do the group kind of work or the individual work building the longboards. Students love it both. I've heard about the longboard program being really cool because you can express your individuality with that board and design it yourself, shape it how you want it to be, give it a theme, paint it, and they love that so much. But the canoes we can also take out on our trips to Boundary Waters and to the local lakes. So those are great too. Mostly though, again, the relationships built with the instructors that were in there with them during that time, and the STEM focus we chose, those conversations came through naturally too. So lots of science instruction kind of naturally in the shop, which was great. The staff was so thrilled. I'm sure we will continue to partner as soon as we can keep doing that, or we'll find a way. So I am so excited to be here as part of this tonight, and say that I jumped at the chance when Urban Boatbuilders asked if I wanted to serve on their board. I'm on the board of directors as a community partner and cannot say enough good about this organization and what its intentions are and what its mission is and its focus. And I'm grateful we have 25 years that we're celebrating. So thanks for being here and being with us tonight, and for all the support you've given Urban Boatbuilders over the years.
Thank you so much, Val. As Val mentioned, the apprentices are back in the shop, and we're thrilled about that. And we're gearing up to work with a few of our partners who are able to have in-person learning opportunities for their students this fall. The youth we serve this fall will join with the more than 8,000 youth Urban Boatbuilders has served over the past 25 years. And as we look to the future, we're committed to continuing our life-changing programming for the youth we serve and working to improve it. Often, the apprenticeship program is a first step on a career pathway for a young person, and we take that responsibility very seriously. We provide amazing skill-building training in career and future readiness skills. We also focus on ensuring that youth are able to take that second step. So we're committed to ensuring that 90% or more of our youth who graduate from the apprenticeship program are placed in a job or a training program or institution of higher education that will lead them on a successful career pathway. And now, I hope you're ready for some fun as we present the first ever paddle portage relay race at Urban Boatbuilders. A team of youth, a team of staff, and a team of volunteers fought hard for the championship. We had a ton of fun filming it, and I hope you have a ton of fun watching it.
Welcome, and thank you for joining us at Urban Boatbuilders' first ever paddle portage relay. I'm Dennis Walsh, Urban Boatbuilders Program Director, and today's announcer. We have 3 teams competing: staff, youth, and volunteers. In the first leg of the race, we have Mark for the staff, Freya for the youth, and Tim for the volunteers. Mark has taken an early lead out of the gate for the staff team, followed closely by Freya and trailed by Tim. The first leg is a short distance sprint, at the end of which paddlers will need to complete a square lashing on a canoe before teammates can begin the second leg. It appears as though Mark is able to make some distance with powerful, albeit splashy strokes, but Freya is cutting through the water nicely as Tim brings up the rear. We see Mark coming in on the landing and setting up to dock his boat, and as he does, it appears as though he is having trouble exiting the boat. He is a big guy for a small boat. Well, Freya comes in hot, not too far behind to keep the youth close by the staff team, with no sign of the volunteer team yet. Mark is careful but wastes no time in getting to the boat to start tying off his square lashing. And the youth team shows a good team effort as they get Freya out of the boat and on to the next task. Mark is making good progress at the lashing station. Though he is executive director, he usually comes out of his office at least once a cohort to challenge youth to lashing races, so he still seems quite at home here. Freya, graduating from her third cohort, is careful to be sure her knot is secure, shooting for high quality in all of her work. She's also showing off her signature hair color here today. And Mark is finished and Tim joins the lashing station, keeping the race tight. Michael, the community engagement director, has climbed into the wee lassie and is paddling for the staff team in the second leg of this race, another sprint to the dock of Lake Phelan. Freya and Tim are working furiously at the lashing station, really testing those fine motor skills. Tim appears to be dripping wet. I'm getting reports he is tipped during that first sprint. It's a good thing he was wearing that PFD, and we'll see if his team will be able to catch up. And there's a nice look at the beautiful Lake Phelan as Michael makes his way to the dock at the end of the second sprint. We could not have asked for a better day here in St. Paul. Subashri is speeding along for the youth team. Subashri is completing his third cohort as an Urban Boatbuilders apprentice. And as Michael touches at the dock, he sends Fonz, the apprenticeship coordinator and communications associate, off onto the portage portion of the relay. Subashri seems to have closed the gap between staff and youth because we now see Macau, a first cohort apprentice, hoisting a wilderness traveler onto his shoulders and setting off at a trot as the volunteer team works to make it to the dock. At Urban Boatbuilders, we like to keep things exciting and unusual. So at the end of the portage, teams will throw a yoga ball at one of 3 bowling pins, which will inform how they complete the final leg of the race through Lake Phelan's channel to the finish line. 1 pin requires teams to paddle backwards to the finish line. 1 pin requires the use of the team's pick of makeshift paddles, and 1 pin places no restrictions on the teams at all. Fonz throws a yoga ball for the staff team, and it appears that the staff will be paddling backwards to the finish line. The cow of the youth team looks like he is starting to run out of steam as he approaches the tent, which is the turning point for the portage, in which he will turn around and go to the yoga ball and bowling pin station. Even with boats as light as these, this distance can be a tough portage. We'll see if the rookie can hold on to his lead over the volunteer team. And it appears that Jason has docked after the second sprint, and Maria is pulling on a WT under her shoulders and setting off on the portage portion of the relay. She's through the tunnel and making an effort to close the gap that has opened up between volunteers and youth. She might have a chance with Macau tiring at the end of his portage, and she's showing great form by keeping the back tip of that canoe up and from scraping on the ground. Macau rounds the tent, and he can probably catch a glimpse of Maria hot on his heels. Despite this close encounter, and maybe because of it, Macau is powering on, determined to reach the bowling pin station first and maintain that lead for the youth. We see the staff team in the boat and beginning their backwards paddle towards the finish line as Macau continues forward in front of Maria and is in fact going to reach the bowling pin station first and keep a little bit of a lead for the youth team. EB and Janelle are working to anchor the final leg for the staff team. EB is a partnership instructor, and Janelle works her magic in the office to keep everything moving smoothly. Well, that must mean, yes, there are the volunteers. Eric and Jeff will be racing for the finish line using shovels instead of canoe paddles, and the youth will be paddling with no restrictions. Well, folks, we've got a race on our hands. All 3 teams in the channel battling their way through algae and lily pads to be the first ones to claim the title of victor at Urban Boatbuilders' first ever paddle portage relay. The volunteer team is making quick progress with their shovels and are working to make the best of Maria's efforts in the portage. These two volunteers are proving great anchors as they overtake the backward paddling staff team just behind Hannah and Demarion of the youth team. And what a move! The youth team has fallen into second as the volunteers pull ahead. We see youthful energy and experience facing off on the final stretch in a tale as old as time. Volunteer and youth teams are both working hard through lily pads trying to eke out a little bit of a lead, but none can get much separation.
You got it.
And the volunteers are working through a slew of lily pads as the youth team comes around and works to take the inside corner from the volunteers. Will it be enough to edge out this team of volunteers and their shovels? Hannah, a powerhouse, and Demarion, a youth instructor, are making a final push to overtake the volunteers and their shovels as they reach the bridge. It's going to be close, and the volunteers by less than half a length. The youth team finishes strong, paddle all the way through in a second place. And we see that the staff team has turned around and is paddling forward to meet everyone at the finish line. What a race, folks, what a race! Thank you for joining us for Urban Boatbuilders' first ever paddle portage relay. Happy 25th anniversary, everyone! This is Dennis Walsh reminding you all to keep calm and paddle on.
Well, congrats to our volunteer team on the win and to everyone who participated. You know, for a nonprofit to make it to 25 years is no easy feat, and it truly takes a community. We're so grateful for all the youth, the advocates, supporters, community partners, board members, volunteers, funders, staff members, and all the others who have made our work possible over the years. If you're on this call, you're one of them. And whether you've been here since 1995 or are brand new to the organization, I want to say thank you. Thank you for supporting our youth and our organization and for being part of our wonderful community. I also want to thank those of you who have made a gift already to support one of our racing teams or support this event. If you haven't given and are in a position to do so, I ask you to consider giving a gift to support our work. Help us serve 8,000 more youth. Help us make it to 50 years in the year 2045. You can give online at urbanboatbuilders.org/donations. To demonstrate the impact of your support, I'd like to introduce one of our current apprentices, Mars Howard.
My name is Mars, I'm a senior apprentice, and I'd like to tell you about my story throughout Urban Boatbuilders. While I was still at school, my case manager walked up to me and told me about a job opportunity with UBB. I didn't think about it much back then because I was overwhelmed with school assignments that I needed to complete. When I was done with my schoolwork, however, I decided to apply as a junior apprentice because at the time I wanted to know what it's like to have a job and be responsible with the money I've made. And I was really happy to be accepted into UBB. After spending a cohort learning about boat building, I decided to come back and wanted to learn more about woodworking knowledge. Being at it also helped me figure out what I wanted to do career-wise. The things I've learned there were more than just woodworking, surprisingly. I've learned how to better manage my time, be organized, collaborate, be a leader, and be financially responsible, just to name a few things. Working here has been both rewarding and challenging. One time I was tasked with lashing the boat together, and I thought it was the hardest part of the boat. And since then, I've learned how to not only lash quickly, but also to make a lot of friends while lashing the canoe together. With the experience I've had in the 3 cohorts, it's made my dream to use these skills to start up a gaming company or open up an arcade more realistic. So if you have any anxiety about getting a job, I would 100% say that Urban Boat Builders is the best, no, perfect place to learn like to what it's like to have a job in a safe and sound environment. Plus you get paid for building boats, and what's not to like about that? Happy 25th anniversary to Urban Boat Builders. Cheers to another 25.
Thanks, Mars, and thank you for joining us this evening, for being a part of our community, and for your support. As we leave, we'll have music from our wonderful volunteer, Bob Kinghorn, and share some photos of our programs over the years. Cheers to you and to the next 25 years of Urban Boat Builders.